Hello and welcome to this week's Thought of the Week here from the Five Churches Benefice. I'm Reverend Denise and I'll be bringing you our thought for the week this week. Our theme for this week is looking at decisions that we make, whether they be big decisions, maybe buying a house or buying a car, or just making big financial decisions, or even just little decisions, what to have for tea maybe, or what should we buy for the food shopping this week, how much money have we got to spend on food shopping this week. Whether they're big decisions or little decisions, they can have quite an impact on the result of that decision. This week's Gospel reading from Mark looks at a man who had to make some decisions. Herod had married his sister-in-law and John the Baptist had declared it unlawful. Herod's wife was not happy about this situation, so she arranged and insisted that John was arrested and put into prison. Now, Herod knew that John the Baptist was a holy and righteous man, and in some ways was probably a little wary of him, and so protected him while he was in prison. So time rolls on, and John and Herod throws a party, and all of who's who were there. Herod's daughter comes in and does a dance and pleases Herod and the guests, and does so, and the result of that being that Herod then says to his daughter, "I will grant you anything that you wish." So his daughter goes off to her mum and says, what shall I ask for? Herod's wife says to her daughter, "I think you should ask for John the Baptist's head on a platter." So she goes back and that's what she asks for. Well, this puts Herod then in a bit of a difficult position because he really respects and was a little bit scared of John the Baptist because he was a holy and righteous man. But equally now, he's promised this in front of a room full of his important guests, so he couldn't go back on what he had decided. So the inevitable happens, and this story for this week from Mark's Gospel has quite a gruesome ending, with John the Baptist's head arriving on a platter. All of the decisions that we make have consequences. Now, I'm hoping that they wouldn't have quite the gruesome consequences as Herod in his decisions this week. But all our decisions do have consequences and have an impact on others and the world around us. As Christians, we are called to live our lives by gospel values. Jesus calls us to love the Lord our God with all our heart, our soul and our mind, and to love our neighbour as ourselves. These values respect and care for the other, and also care for the creation and the world around us. The decisions that we make in our daily lives have an impact. Where we buy our food from, where we get our clothes from, where we get our energy supplies from, and all the other decisions that we make have an impact on other people, the farmers, the people that make the clothes, and have impact on the environment around us. That doesn't mean as Christians that we always make the right decisions. We're not perfect by any means. And thankfully, we have a God that loves us and a God that forgives us when we make our blunder. Our God is a God of many second chances. When we make blunders, we can start afresh and have that second, third, fourth, fifth, millionth chance. So this week then, as we go through our week and we make our decisions, I wonder if we can maybe just pause for a moment before we make that choice, before we make that decision, and ask ourselves the question of, what impact am I making? What impact am I having on others in this choice that I'm making, in this decision that I'm making? Does it reflect the love of God? Does it reflect loving our neighbour as ourselves? And if it doesn't, then I wonder, maybe challenging ourselves to make an alternative decision. Sometimes that's not practical and not possible. But sometimes it is good just to pause and wonder and question some of the decisions that generally we take for granted on a day-to-day basis. So as we go through this week, as we make our decisions, may God's peace and his love and his blessing be with you. Amen.